Hey guys, what's up? I know, not my typical video, though it hopefully is a video you guys are going to enjoy after not being on for so long. Whole lot of crap that's been going on. Maybe I'll talk about it later. It just has not been fun, but I thought that I would record this because it is going to be fun. It's something you've seen me do before. It's an unboxing, which I find kind of amusing considering that I am still working on, a review video for these guys, and I'm pretty sure you can guess it's from LK Chen. I'm currently oh yeah, and of course here's Nayat. Those of you who hang around the skull circles know who Nayat is.
Hello.
I happen to have her on voice, and I figured she might actually be interested in seeing what this sword looks like. Nayat and I happen to have been in a voice call, and I figured I was going to show her what this sword that just came in from LK Chen looks like. And I figured, you know what, I might as well record this since you guys haven't seen anything from me in who knows how long. And yeah, we'll just check it out together and have some first impressions. So Nayat, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so hold on.
Let's do this shit.
Let's do this. Okay. So this be the box. I might have to blur that out.
Sent you a box.
Sent me a box. Yep. My swordmonger friend sent this over to me, which again, as I said before, I'm finding this kind of funny because I am still working on the review for the other sword that they sent me. And speaking of that, there was actually some historical background stuff that I wanted to do with that sword, which is part of the reason why this is taking so long. The other part is just getting the right cutting footage, but I'm actually having somebody else's help. Actually, I'm having two people's help with getting cutting footage. One location and two targets to cut with. And I think this is going to be a bit of a surprise for some people. So, this was very well wrapped, by the way, I have to say. I mean, it's already wrapped. It's already in a box, but they decided to wrap this in another paper wrapping to warn people, that it's fragile, which, I mean, consider this is a sword. I'm hoping it's not that fragile, but we'll see. I guess I just didn't want it banged around because that's how parts get loose and such. Come on. Ugh. Maybe I might be opening this up on the wrong side. I'm starting to get that impression, and I shouldn't. I just did some bad knife safety there. You don't point the blade at yourself. So.
Speaking of the knife, show us the knife. It looks like a very interesting knife.
Oh, yeah, this, it's just a tiny little, I guess the best way I could describe it is it's like an envelope opener. Just this tiny little thing. And I'm going to feel bad about this. I am pretty sure this was a gift from Skull. Because he sent me knives. He sent me a couple of knives as a present. Yeah, this did. Shit. It's not. Because there's somebody else who sent me a gift knife way back at around the same time that Skull had sent me a gift knife. But I'm thinking Skull was the one who sent me this one as well. And I've been using this a lot for opening up boxes, envelopes, things like that. So here we. Of course. Oh, God. They did warn me that they might be sending me something like this. I just didn't think they would. So, here's the shape, and I'm pretty sure you guys can tell, even with the plastic wrapping, what type of sword this is. Right? Like, Nayat, what do you think?
It appears to be something curvy.
Yeah, it's definitely curvy. It is not. Well, I'm pretty sure you didn't think it was a katana, but for some people, it's a curved sword, it's a katana. It's not a katana. I was about to say I don't think LK Chen make katanas, but I remember looking at their website and I just saw that they recently have such a sword on there. They really are expanding the types of weapons that they offer. Like they had a couple of Western ones on there that also look pretty cool. One of them I, in fact, would love to get my hands on, but that's neither here or there at the moment. I'm currently looking at this one.
I like the hilt so far.
Oh, yeah. And yes, very tightly wrapped. Not seeing anything loose. not out of place. Looks like mild steel fittings, which I am not surprised. It seems to be the go-to for a lot of the swords from LK Chen. I'm just cutting through the tape so I can easily get this stuff out. I'm cutting away from myself, okay? Cutting away. Cutting away. It's knife safety. We mostly practice that here. So, yeah. Put this back in this little sheath. And here we go. And funny, the other knife that Skull had gifted me with, that's the one over there, which you guys can't see, or whatever. Okay, so, yeah, we got ourselves a Chinese doll, but not your typical doll. This is, and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering it, a Niue doll. A Niue doll, this is your typical, or the stereotypical kung fu sword. This is your typical saber. This is the typical, whoa, holy shite.
Oh my.
I am not certain they wanted me to present it in this condition.
The blade looks broader than I thought it would be.
Oh, this is what I was expecting as far as the shape of the blade and how broad it is. This is your typical Niue doll.
I sense something.
You don't see what's wrong? I'll put it closer.
Oh?
Yeah.
Now I see.
Yeah.
Oh my.
See? Yeah.
Oh my. Oh dear.
Yeah.
You do though.
Take a look. Go on.
What happened?
What was it caught in a storm or something?
I don't know, but it is rusty as fuck.
The camera didn't pick it up at all. Like for instance, right now I do not.
Yeah, you
I do
can't
not
see it with the camera now, but once I put it up close,
yeah,
you can see it, and it's all over the blade, all over. Like right now, I'm looking at the camera feedback, and it's not doing this justice. It's not really showing you just how much rust there is. Like I now want to make sure see if the blade is even sharp at this point. Oh, it's still sharp. Shit.
Never mind. Never mind.
You
I
saw
take
that?
back what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's in fact that's ridiculously sharp, which makes me wonder something. Oh. I okay.
Sword.
So.
Stab.
Put that down, please. Okay. No, my hat.
Is it not actually rust? Is it something caked on?
It might be something caked on, or the rust might not be as bad as I thought. So it's a lot. That is a lot.
Looks like it's coming clean.
It's coming clean, yes, but the damage has been done, so to
Right.
speak. Like,
Right.
I'm going to need to go over this with one of my, because I have some polishing disposable cloths, which are made for light rust cleaning jobs, and I'm
That
thinking,
Yeah, that didn't look like a light rust.
yeah. The problem is there's still a lot of it caked on. Now, you know what? Like, yes, that's kind of unfortunate, and I'm quite certain that somebody who would order this from LK Chen would not be happy with this. However,
Oh, it's look at you.
in a weird sort of way, I don't mind. I mean, I'm still going to try to clean this off, but if I can't get everything off, what's amusing me is that this makes it look like an old sword. And I know some people want their swords to look old. I got me an antique. No, you didn't. What I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe it dry completely. See how much rust is going to come off. And then I will coat it in oil to prevent more rust from getting on here. I cleaned off as much of this as I could. And I do have to say that even with this patina on the blade, the edge is still quite sharp. I cut, it's it's like you can shave with this. Like it's ridiculous how sharp this is. So I'm not worried about the edge. Has not been affected by the rust.
Good, good.
The blade itself, you know, it's funny to me how light dull tend to be compared to what people think they are. You know, I used to say, yeah, dull are heavy swords and ten are light swords. That's why you can't block with your... Yeah, whatever. But having handled several dull now, this is a very quick, light, and maneuverable sword, which is what I would have expected from a weapon like this. Some people might, well, no, big sabers you expect to be heavier for more chopping power. Well, yes and no. At the end of the day, you don't need a sword to be overly heavy in order to cut well. This feels very lively in the hand, and I'm sorry if I'm not cutting very well. Again, this is not my weapon. I'm a gen user. That being said, you know, man, this is really nice. I'd like to be able to whip this thing around, but I don't have much space in the air to start swinging this thing around without cracking something, but...
How does the hilt feel in the hand?
Comfortable. Very comfortable. There's no... The whole hilt is round. Like, there's no hard shapes, no hard edges on this whatsoever. I was looking on the side to see if I happen to have the one that did, so I could show you the difference, but no. But, yeah, very comfortable. The grip is nice and tight, but it, you know, it feels very grippy in the hand. So not only is it not sliding up and down on the hilt and getting loose, but I get good purchase with it. The fingers, once they grip it, that's it. They're not really sliding all that much. My hand's not really going to go flying off. I do notice that, see, again, one thing about LK Chen weapons is that I don't want to say no frills, because no frills sometimes has a negative connotation. But in this particular case, it's like this is a no-nonsense replica of a typical oxtail saber or oxtail dull.
Excellent.
What I mean by like no frills is you got these mild steel, I'm assuming this is mild steel. I'll check on the website. You got these simple fittings, no embroidery on it, no crazy carving, just typical shape that you saw for this type of handguard. Over here, it's nice and flat. You know, your hand's not going to hurt if it bumps up against it, though it really shouldn't be if you're doing your forms right. And then here you got more of that cup type of shape, in the sense that, you know, the walls happen to point toward the blade. And then the blade itself, double fuller on it, very light. This particular one, now that I've gotten a good chunk of the rust off, I'm trying to take a really good look. This one I don't believe is pattern wielded, which I was about to say most of them probably weren't, and I'm thinking I'm wrong about that. But if they were able to make, I think if back then they were able to make quality weapons without it having to be folded, they probably would make it like this. So since folded weapons these days they fetch a higher price and it's, you know, a lot more time consuming.
So it's a utilitarian sword.
This is very utilitarian. This is the sort of, these are the sorts of weapons that, again, your civilian or maybe even peasant martial artists would use. You know, guys on the road, bandits, that sort of thing. I was going to go a little bit into the design of this particular weapon. Like, again, this was not a military weapon. This is something that, at best, civilian militia groups probably would be using in, you know, the latter years of the Qing dynasty. And maybe a bit into the Republican era, you know, even though they were modernizing at the time. Part of the reason why this blade shape was, you know, decided upon is because this not only adds a little extra weight to give it a little bit more of a forward presence in the cut, though it's not too far forward. I might just show you where it's balanced. It's balanced right there. Very similar to a 10, actually. Very similar. If it's slightly farther out, it's very slightly farther out. And honestly, I'm finding the balance to be very similar. And the military ones, like, you know, the goose quill, same balance. But this one has a wider blade, and the blade shape is made a certain way. This one's very delicate reaching right here, but there were other ones where it's more pronounced, where the curve sharply ends and then goes straight toward the tip.
Do I see a false edge?
Yeah, there's a false edge, definitely. There's a false edge. Some people, sharpened it back then. Some people didn't. But this one has a false edge. And again, I find this is a very delicate. I'm so used to right there. Like I told you before, it just goes and then that. Like there's a sharp point sometimes, or almost sharp point. Get like right there and then it goes straight. And here it's just it's like a tiny, barely see it. Not even a foothill, just like a little mound, and then it goes straight. I kind of like that. It gives the weapon a teensy bit more elegance to it, even though this is not a weapon made for elegance. I'm sorry, but this weapon was made to slash and cut open with no nonsense technique. And yeah, I was going into this overall design here. This here, they made that specifically to slice through cloth. But there was less and less armor use going on, especially with the civilian militias. And, certain, even military militias and all that, they weren't really walking around with much armor. They would walk around with thick clothing, especially in the north. And we were talking about this earlier this morning, this afternoon. Remember when we were saying, get, some certain clothes we prefer because they give us a little extra protection against the blade. Well, the thick garments that a lot of, Chinese martial arts were wearing, especially in the north, were thick. So they needed an easy way to slice it open. Hello, oxtail saber. Like that's another reason why this is not a battlefield weapon. This is made specifically to cut through flesh and cloth. And on the battlefield, you might bump into guys with some harder materials. Even if that hard material is lacquered bamboo, it's still a harder material. Something like this, against that, you're looking at easy edge damage. Especially from the way I see this particular edge, which is the typical, I must cut, otherwise I can't live edges that LK Chen loves putting on these things. I've been talking so much about the blade, I didn't even get into the scabbard, which, again, well crafted. Lacquered wood. I'd have to look at the website to know what type of wood it is. Fittings are nice. Fittings are not coming loose. Nothing's rattling, nothing's shaking. Wood slabs are nice and thick, even, solid. This
nice.
Yeah. The typical, this is like the typical stuff I expect from LK Chen. A no-nonsense, tightly constructed, very sharp weapon. So now I gotta do a review on this. And I'm going to be honest, I never really thought I would end up doing a review of one of these on the channel. I knew the possibility was there, but considering that I'm more into Dian and not Dao, I did not think. It's funny, the most recognizable, stereotypical Kung Fu sword was the one that I didn't think I would end up reviewing or talking about much on my channel, and yet here we are, and I can't say that I'm, with the rust, I'm not disappointed with it. And considering what I know about how Chinese martial arts ended up during the late Qing dynasty, and the quality of weapons and what was going on at the time, it's delightfully ironic that this came to me with the rust on it. It really, yeah. There's something oddly poetic about that. It's still a really nice weapon, though. I will hand it to the company for once again making a solid-looking weapon, one that I didn't think I'd be reviewing here. Beautiful looking in its own simplistic way. Solid construction, not sliding out, nice and tight. Yeah. The only complaint so far, it didn't exactly come to me in polished condition. Maybe the edge, not so much the rest of the blade. I'll be letting them know. And the only reason why I want to let them know is simply because it's not about, me, big sword reviewer, which I'm not. Big sword reviewer, I'm disappointed you sent me crappy product. It's not. No, it's just more like, again, somebody ordered a sword and they get it and it ends up like this, that's a reflection on the company as a whole, and that's probably going to piss them off. I'm amused by the rust more than anything. And it's still sharp as hell. It's still solid. Okay. Actually, this makes a really good companion piece with this weapon. See what I mean?
Huh.
I mean, granted, okay, this one doesn't have a wrap.
Yeah.
This one's got, well, technically it does have a wrap. This is a race skin wrap. But some people would want to have some kind of cord around it, I think, to make it easier on the hands. And then this one's black, nice cloth black, just on plain wood. Don't know what type of wood. But the color is what's like, hey, wait a second. And I think part of the reason why I'm also amused by that is because these two weapons were pretty much being used at about the same time. This is a Republican era Tien. And this is a sword design that was continuously used from the late Qing Dynasty onwards. So these two, especially when this really started getting used by so many martial artists, which the Republican era, there was so many martial artists using this. And then you get this right next to it, which is the Republican era evolution of the Tien. Yeah, that's kind of cool to me. I don't know if that was their intention, which I don't think it is, especially since this one is actually wrapped in leather, and that one has no wrapping.
And it actually looks pretty cool, one crossed over the other.
Yeah. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do a video where I just talk about these two particular swords and their use during that particular time period. So, I think I'll end it off here. Want to say thanks once again for LKChen for sending me these to review. I know it's taking me forever to try to get them reviewed, but I'm hoping to speed the process up. Like, after the review that I still have coming, I'm hoping any of the sort of reviews I do after that will have a much faster timetable. But in the meantime, just want to say thanks to Nayat for reviewing this with me, or at least, to having a first impressions look. What did you think overall?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here. And overall, about that doll, I think that it has an excellent profile. That's the first thing I noticed. It looks comfortable in the hand. And I am most curious about the weight distribution.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, it's very light and very nimble in the hand. Very nimble. Very similar to other doll that I've handled from LKChen before. The one that I like the most, that Goose Quill, there's that one, just everything about it is just great in terms of the balance, the weight, the handling, the shape of the blade. And yet, despite the fact that this is a wider blade, despite the fact that this oxtail saber is, it's wider, it's more utilitarian, the balance is very similar. It's very similar.
I'll be honest with you, I do like the utilitarianness of this particular piece.
Yeah, and this is like, you want to learn to fight with a weapon? By the time you reach the end of the Qing Dynasty, it's like, here, now, this is your weapon. And there's a reason why it stood the test of time. It's a well-designed weapon. It worked. Like,
no nonsense.
If this was a crappy weapon, Chinese martial artists would not have stuck with it for as long as they have. And not even, fine. It was never used in the military, but it stood the test of time. There was a reason why civilian martial artists really liked the weapon, and there's a reason why to this day, there are a lot of people practicing, Chinese martial arts that they love the Dao. Like, that's their sword. I'm the odd guy out. I like the Tien. They're like, no, this weapon, because that's the weapon that has all the cool cuts and spins and jumping moves and all the really vicious attacks like that. That weapon is their thing. And when they think of that weapon, they're thinking of this one. This is the model in their minds. And just touching this, sheesh, just the feel of it, I could see why. I think this did a really good job of capturing that. This feels like a really solid weapon. And again, considering that LKChen, they base all their products on real examples. Yeah, this one has a great feel.
Which I find excellent.
All right. Thanks, Nayat, for taking the time to be a part of the recording, despite how crazy it ended up.
No problem, no problem.
And if I do put this up, thank you guys for watching it. Catch you guys later.